Now, friends, we're going to go to a second section here that also is going to set the basis for these meetings. I should mention that at the end, on section number 12, I am going to give you a diet that is going to make you look very young, and not just that, he's going to give you a very, very long life. So you need to wait for that section number 12. We will provide, you can actually take notes on that. We are going to give you a recipe of a diet that will make you look very young, and it will make you live very, very long. Would you like that? Okay. That's section number 12. Now, vegetarianism by principle or application. This is something also that we need to understand right from the start, before we get into deeper parts of the program. I've got a quote that I would like to share with you. This quote says the following. It was written by an author in the 19th century, a very progressive lady that progressive in many, many ways. She actually wrote plenty of books in different matters, in health and mental health, spiritual health, and so on. And she wrote this, and this was a very advanced statement for that time. Girls should learn to harness and drive a horse, and to use the saw and the hammer, as well as the rake and the hoe. They will be better fitted to meet the emergencies of life. So this lady that was very advanced for her time said that parents, especially daddy, needs to actually teach the daughters, not the boys, but just the daughters also, to harness a horse, to use the hammer, and to use the rake and the hoe, and to teach them practical things of labor that at that time, in many respects, only belonged to the man. Okay, so I'm going to show you a photo of the 19th century. That's a lady riding a horse. You know, I've got a problem. I've got 2 daughters. That's not my problem. But my problem is that I don't have any horses. I have no horses. I'm stuck. How am I going to teach my daughters to harness the horse? Now, but what about if I show you this photo of a young girl that is doing what? Changing a flat tire. Question. Is the young girl changing the flat tire of a car fulfilling the principle of the quote that we read previously? Yes or not? Yes. What was the application of the principle on that quote? Well, we living in the 18th century. That's our surroundings. Now teach your daughters to harness a horse. That's the application of that time. How is the application of the same principle nowadays? Teach your daughter to change a flat tire and to change the oil in the car. Why? So when she gets her license and she's driving back home and she has a flat tire and it's 8 o'clock at night, she doesn't wait for any punk to stop by. She can actually change the tire herself and get home safely. That's one reason for it. And the other reason, of course, makes them resourceful. True? So I want you to understand this. Principles don't change. Applications change according to circumstances. We need to understand this. Do you agree with what I just said? Principles don't change. We don't back up from principle. Applications might change according to the circumstances. So I had a friend that came to me and said, Oscar, I believe that you are a creationist. I said, I am. And I believe that you're a creationist and believe in the Bible. I said, I am. And I said, now you need to explain to me where in the Bible says that you ought to be vegetarian. But Oscar, Before you say anything, let me tell you that I have done a little bit of investigation here. Don't come up to me with that story in Genesis when God gave to man from every tree that bears seed and from every leaf in the field. Don't tell me that story, because I know, I read through, and a few chapters after the big catastrophe, God said to an individual called Noah, you can eat of clean meats. So Oscar, he thought he just destroyed my argument. Where in the Bible then tells you to eat as a vegetarian, when after the first 2 chapters of Genesis, he was given permission to eat meat? Well, that's very simple, friend. We find it in Leviticus 11. And he thought about it, Leviticus 11. So we opened Leviticus 11. And he read it through. And he goes, you gotta be kidding me, mate. Leviticus 11 is all about eating meat. So if I say pig from Leviticus 11, it's called the Leviticus law. Pig is categorized as an unclean or unfitted for human consumption animal. Okay? So I'm going to use this section here as unfitted for human consumption, this section here as fitted for human consumption. You following? Okay. Pig. Unfitted or fitted? Unfitted for human consumption. I said, friend, can you see it? And I go, what do you mean? You're talking about pig? I said, yeah. I'll give you another example. The eagle. And he read it through and said, that's unfitted. Okay. So I'll move to this square here. I said, okay. The cow. The cow is fitted for human consumption. Okay. I'll go here. Then I go, the vulture. That's unfitted. Okay, good. The seafood, like oysters and all that kind of vacuum cleaners of the ocean. Oh, that's unfitted, according to this. But Oscar, you're not gaining the argument here. You're not making any improvement. It's all about eating meat. So I continue with inquiry to a point when I said marijuana, and he goes, unfitted. So I move to this section here. And then I ask the question, where did you get that from, friend? It's not listed. And he goes, oh. Well, ask me another one. I said, okay. Whole meal, biodynamic, organic wheat flour, make into a sourdough bread. But you are a celiac. That bread, for you, fitted or unfitted? And guess what he said? Unfitted. And I go, oh, my friend, you meant to tell me that organic, biodynamic wheat flour made into sourdough bread with the best ingredients available, because you are celiac, is what? Unfitted for you. And then, I don't remember the recipe, but I made this recipe of this cake. And if you can think of an unhealthy cake, just time that 10 times, and you will come up with my recipe. I just put so much sugar, so much butter, so many eggs, so much, all the refined things, coloring, the most disgusting, heavy, unhealthy cake that you can ever imagine. And I said, fitted or unfitted? And guess what he said? Unfitted for human consumption. Leviticus 11 actually tells us that in these days, the way is actually vegetarianism. And he goes, how? I said, because it's a principle-based chapter. A chicken grown in a farm with green pastures available to the chicken, has it could have as less as 4% of fat in the sinew. And the Bible says that that's fitted for human consumption. The average chicken today grown in a growing farm, poultry farm, has up to 40% of fat in the sinew. Not 40. And I asked the question to my friend and said, fitted or unfitted? And he goes, well, the farm one is fitted. And the other one is unfitted. I said, make up your mind, it's a chicken. Yeah, but the difference is the type of chicken. Cow. Now, with the information that I just gave you, you move me to one side or the other. Cow. Fitted for human consumption according to Leviticus 11 or unfitted? The cow. Is fitted. Is fitted. Now, that cow over there has tuberculosis. You're going to kill it and you're going to eat it? Yes or not? No, it's unfitted. Why? Because it has tuberculosis. Did you get it? It's a principle base. The reason why I am vegetarian today is because of Leviticus 11. Sorry, Oscar? Very simply. The cows today are fed with the wrong stuff, treated in the wrong way, killed in the wrong manner, and they are not as near as healthy as they used to be in the past. So I'm more tempted to say that today, cows are more on this side and fitted for human consumption. Some of the eggs, the majority of the eggs consumed today, are actually carcinogenic. Now, we're not talking about the good omega-3 eggs that your grandmother had in the backyard with access to green grass and celery and silver beet. And we're not talking that kind of eggs. Because that kind of eggs will have some kind of health benefits and it will draw some poisons out of your body. But that's not the kind of eggs that you will buy in any shopping center. The ones that you will buy from any shopping center are actually being proven to be carcinogenic. So all of a sudden, they become what? Unfitted. All based on Leviticus 11. Now, let me show you this. That's applying the principles. This is Jesus. And he has the bread and he has the fish here. You see, he's about to do the miracle of the fishes and the bread. And one guy goes and says, I can't eat that, I'm a vegan. Another guy goes and says, has that fish been tested for mercury? And still another guy said, is that bread gluten-free? Now, Jesus will have a problem nowadays to make that miracle. Exactly the same miracle will have a problem. And if you want to know what problem he will have with the bread, you just need to watch the Gluten Connection seminars. But with the fish, we know that the fish has high levels of mercury contamination. And I hear people in Australia, Australians are very funny. I am Australian by adoption. So, they say, but our fish, we actually get it from Tasmania. We don't get it from up north, because we know up north it doesn't have the same clean waters, but we just get it from Tasmania. And they don't realize that the oceans are like a big washing machine. If you go to the Gulf of Mexico today, you won't find the entire spill of oil that happened just a few months ago or a few years ago. You won't find the spill of oil there. Where is that? It's just everywhere. I feel a bit uncomfortable when I see the news and they say, the Fukushima nuclear plant is releasing some contaminated water with some nuclear contaminated water into the ocean. And then I got people that say, don't get anything from Japan, because they put in all this contaminated water, radioactive water into the ocean. Yeah, like if that water is just there, sitting in Japan, just waiting to be encapsulated there forever and ever, amen. No, that water is already all around the world, friends. In one of these seminars, we'll actually show you how a jetty from Japan arrived in the western coast of America after the tsunami. The entire jetty, concrete jetty, arrived in the coast of America. Friends, if the entire jetty arrived to the other coast of America, where is the radiation now? So, years ago, my mom said to my 4-year-old son at the time, "And why you don't eat fish, darling? Jesus ate fish, and he was just 4 years old." And my son said on the phone, "But Grandma, in that lake, there wasn't any oil, and there wasn't any oil spills, and any paints and plastics, and all those things," and gave my mom an entire lecture. And then my mom said, "Put me to your father." "You're brainwashing the child," she said. But the truth of the matter is that now more and more fish is coming out of the water with skin cancers and tumors in the liver and all sorts of problems. And fishermen are seeing that every single day. In Australia, when you go to fish and chips, you will actually just get, most of the time, unless it's specified, you will get shark. And by the way, just for the record, sharks don't have any scales. Okay? So you'll get shark if you go to fish and chips in Australia most of the time. Now, I was talking to a fisherman that actually is a fisherman of shark. And he goes, "We can only fish up to 15 kilos. I go, "Oh, why only up to 15 kilos? So, because Australian authorities don't allow us to fish anything over 15 kilos because of the mercury content. I said, I know now how it works. Thank you for explaining to me. I'm a shark. I'm 7 kilos. I have no mercury. I'm a shark. I'm 10 kilos. I have no mercury. I'm a shark. I'm 12 kilos. I have no mercury. I'm a shark. I'm 4 kilos and a half. I have no mercury. I'm a shark. I'm 15 kilos and 100 and full of mercury, not fitted for human consumption. Is that how it works? Do you think they're fishing the shark that is 5 kilos or the one that is 14 and a half? I mean, for the same catch, you get bigger yield, isn't it? They're getting the big sharks just under 15 kilos. So, since it's under 15 kilos, it has no mercury in it. Is that right? Tuna has a label in some of the companies in Spain. When you go to a shopping center, you have the can of tuna, and it says, "Not fitted for the elderly, children, and pregnant women." That's tuna. In fact, people say, "Oh, look, I'm almost vegetarian. I only eat tuna." I'll say, well, perhaps it's not the best choice. If you're going to remain eating fish, perhaps tuna is not the best choice. Why? Because tuna is a big fish. The bigger, the more concentration of mercury in it. And in fact, there's some labels on the label there in Spain that says not fitted for the elderly, children, small children, and pregnant women. I don't know about you, but if the pregnant women are not allowed to eat it, and children are not allowed to eat it, what makes us think that we are allowed to eat it? And it's not going to affect us. So all of a sudden, fish today has become an unclean thing. Has become unfitted for human consumption. Based on what? Based on Leviticus 11. Did you catch that? Based on Leviticus 11. Okay. Now, how are we going to apply the principle without compromising the principle and still applying it around us? Now, what about if I'm in the islands and I don't go to the islands for holidays? I go there as a missionary. I go to some of the Pacific islands there. And I'll tell you some of the things that I consume. I consume maca, I consume good almonds, I consume quinoa, I consume amaranth, I consume so many good things. Now picture this. I'm in the middle of a Pacific island there. I go to the little store, the little shopping supermarket there, and I go there, and I go, hello. I just want to get a kilo of maca para. I beg your pardon? And I also want amaranth. Ama what? I want quinoa, please. Kiki what? Now, yeah, because I'm doing this green smoothie, so I want some superfoods. You know, I want alfalfa grass. I want some spirulina, please. Some dulse. I want it. Excuse me, we don't have any of that. The only thing that we have here is this white flour. And you look at the white flour, and the humidity hasn't done much good to that white flour. That white flour comes with added protein. Do you know what the added protein is? You know, all those little things that move. You know, it's not good when something is moving in your flour. Now, I'm going to be there for 10 years. And I'm going to ask you now the question. What is the principle? Stay healthy within your surroundings and your circumstances, or veganism? Tick, 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 tick. Are you thinking? What is the principle and what is the application? Stay healthy within your surroundings, or veganism? Stay healthy with your surroundings is the principle. What is the application? In my case, veganism. Or vegetarianism, we can call it. I don't like to use that term, veganism. I was actually flying to Korea, and I said, well, I don't want any dairy, and I don't want anything like that, so I'm just going to take vegan. And they didn't have the option for vegan. They only had the option for vegetarian. So I just take the version of the option of vegetarian, and they said in Korean, vegetarian means vegan. So good. So I don't like that term of vegan, because I want to live by principle. And principle is you become yourself as healthy as possible within your surroundings. And I am capable in Australia, in my surroundings, to maintain a healthy, stable, and thriving diet using no animal product whatsoever. I am able to do that, but I'm relying on certain superfoods. I'm relying on certain things that are included into my diet. Now, if I'm in a situation for a long time in which those things are not able to be given to me or provided to me, and somebody goes and says, Oscar, you are looking sick. You are looking unhealthy. We have a river here crossing the island, and there's fresh river trout on that river. I'm not eating my almonds because they get moldy by the time I order them. I can't get any walnuts. I can't get in any linseed. I can't get anything like that. How am I going to apply the principle in that scenario? I'm going to go to that river, I'm going to look at that trout, and I'm going to say, fins, yep. Scales, yes. Lord, it has fins and scales. And it's freshwater trout. It's the best I can get, Lord. I have permission to eat it. Because otherwise, I will be dishonoring my diet by looking very, very sick. Do you understand what I'm saying? The principle is you need to not just look healthy, feel healthy, but be healthy. And if some of those things are you're not applying it, or it's not feeling, you need to start reassessing, hold on a second, maybe I'm missing something. I've got people that come to me and say, Oscar, but if your diet was good, how is it that you take certain supplements? And I said, because those supplements are allowing me to be healthy. And the principle is, be healthy within the surroundings and within the limits provided for you. So the limits, I'm not going to go and eat pig. That's out of the limits. And fortunately, I've been able to have the most beautiful cook in the world, because she cooks for me, and it's my wife. And she makes the most wonderful dishes with all plant-based dishes. I've been blessed by that. And she keeps me healthy in that sense. And what I'm doing is just grabbing from the box of what is allowed. So fish, where is it? Where is fish today? Over there. At least 99% of the fish is over there. If I'm in the islands, I might have to every so often get a little bit of the fish which is in this box. Did you get it? Because who put the fish allowed to eat in this box? God, not me, friends. I don't know more than God. God put it in here. Now, I am living in Australia and I disregard the fish, and I disregard this, and I disregard the other. I am healthy, look healthy, be healthy. You know, I say to people, I'm 60 years old. Do I look it? No, I'm not 60. That would be the best advertising, isn't it? But I said to people, I have a responsibility as a health professional to stand before you looking healthy. Because if not, I discredit my own message. True? I have a responsibility to look healthy, to practice healthy habits, and to be able to recognize when something is not going wrong, not going right. Maybe I need to fine-tune here. Maybe I need to fine-tune there. Maybe I need to put more superfood here. Maybe I need to do, I feel a bit ran down. Maybe I need to do this, that, and the other. We need to have that capability, because otherwise we are in serious trouble. And I have found many people that they are looking sick, feeling terrible, everybody knows them, and they go, I'm not going to back up from principle. The diet is vegetarianism, and I'm not going to take vitamin C supplements. I'm not going to take supplements because supplements is not food. I'm not going to take it. But you know what, friend? Maybe if you take a supplement of this, that, and the other, it might increase your vitality. No, I'm not moving from principle. He's standing on the wrong type of principle. He thinks that the application is the principle. And despite the fact that he looks unhealthy, carries on, and he becomes a very wrong advertiser of what it is, a very healthy diet, if done correctly and wisely. In closing, I have this image from a few years ago. There was this meat-eating man. He was a runner. He was very fit, very built-up man. And in front of him was a lady. And this lady, without trying to diminish her, she didn't look healthy at all. She was probably way too much overweight, way too much. She was obese. And she was telling this very fit-looking man that he needed to quit meat to be healthier. Now, I believe so. I believe so. But she was discrediting what she was saying from her mouth. That man was healthy. Much healthier. Now, could it be healthier? Of course. But it was very healthy, very fit, and it was definitely much healthier than the vegetarian that was in front of him. Do you think he was convinced? He was just doing like this in desperation and resignation. So, in this series, we are going to start launching into how to be a vegetarian that does not look sick, does not feel sick, but it is healthy. So we can look at people and be the biggest advertising of vegetarianism that it is. People say to me, Oscar, you look great. Last year, I was in Spain, in Madrid, recording some programs. I managed to go to see my mom and my brother. He is 2.5 years younger than me. He invited me to go to a dinner with other friends. And one of my sisters-in-law friend went to her and said, "Your brother-in-law keeps himself good and fit. In fact, he looks younger than your husband." And then my brother heard it. And he was very, very sad. He went the very next day to get a haircut because he thought, maybe if I get a haircut, I'll look younger. He was continuously inspecting for my white hairs. And it was, "Man, what do you do? You don't have any white hairs, Oscar." He is 2.5 years younger than me, and he's full of white hairs. We come from the same mother and same father. His face is more wrinkly. He's more unfit. He's overweight. And he does look a bit older. Well, he doesn't understand English, so I can say it in the English program. I didn't say that in the Spanish program. Now, it pays off. And I hope that as we enter into this journey for the next 10 presentations, that we will all learn something, live by principle, and apply it in the right way so you can feel healthier, look healthier, and be healthier. Thank you.